All right, so kind of another little thing. This is all before the 800 gets here on Thursday. I just recorded this morning my 77 because I just haven't been using it. I don't know if maybe it's time to move on. It's bright, and this is with the treble on noon and the presence way down. But here it is, straight in, guitar straight in. Right, so now, and then I also did one with the 808, but we'll get to that. Oh, not 808, AC30. All right, so now we've got the AC30. This is its own cab. Let me get a level here. I've turned up the JMP. So, because honestly, when the 800 gets here, somebody's got to go. I think, not just for room, but I want to recoup. So we already went through the Mark V, which I've already come to the conclusion I can get that with the Axe Effects. But let's just try this. So here is AC30 straight in, and then I'll do a little 808, same exact way I did the 77. I just turned it on. I didn't adjust anything, so we'll just take a listen for a second. Okay. Good Lord, that just seemed like it sounded nice. Let me just drop. And that's where the 808 kicked in. Okay, so here is here's 77. And here's AC30 straight in. All right, I like the AC30. Let me do a little adjustment. I'm going to add a little top and a little gain to the AC30. That's really nice. I'm just trying to get it to kind of be closer. I don't know. Not really. It doesn't really matter. Oh, yeah. I had the gain low. I had the gain really low, like on 3 and 4. And I had the treble low. I had it on like 4. I had it lower. So I just boosted it up to a little above noon. And I boosted the gain up to maybe close to noon. Let's try this again. Let me get the 808 off. And that's coming out of the AC30 cab with the the open back or the vented back greenbacks. Maybe I should give it a little. Let me give it a hair more gain. This is the thing with having it in there. You got to get in there, but you know what? Honestly, do this a couple times, I'll hear stuff in my head. I'll just know my settings. I'm going into the top boost high right now. Gave it a little more gain, a little more treble. So, and again, this is just kind of to, just so we can hear. The cabinet really makes it. Wow. Say that was fun to play is an understatement. It's nice to listen to another cab too. You know, you can see the same couple cabs all the time. So here's the 77 straight in. It's nice. It's got the little thing on top, which I think the 800 is going to have in spades. And then AC30. It's beautiful. I mean, like, aesthetically, I like it better. But I could see where, like, the bangy JMP thing would be cool in certain things. But the JMP sounds... It's funny, certain things sound more dated than other things. Like, the AC30 doesn't really sound dated to my ears, even though it's old as hell. The 77 definitely sounds like, you know, Let It Go, like, you know, very kind of Def Leppard, you know, dun 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 dun, you know, Thin Lizzy, Skinner kind of thing. So JMP and AC30. Yeah. So it's up to it's all. Here's the JMP with the 808. And here's the Vox with the 808 on. See, the Vox stays because it's open back. It stays. It doesn't, like the JMP inflates a little bit more. Here's the JMP with the 808. Yeah. All right. They're both great. So I got to be honest. So this is where my head's at. If the 800 is awesome, I'm going to sell the Mark V. Take the Sir and the twin sister, slide them both down a shelf, and then the open shelf where the Sir is, put the 800, and then set up, you know, the effects loop and everything, and call it a day. I would get rid of the Mark V before I would get rid of the 77. Just because the 77 is another one of those somewhat, though there's a couple I've seen for sale recently, but they're hard to find. I mean, mine is literally looks like I bought it new yesterday. It looks, for the most part, brand new, other than just the little general dinginess of an amp that's 45 or whatever years old. Not even. I mean, it's like brand new. Whoever bought it just like threw it in their bedroom, and it sounds like they didn't even, maybe they barely even played it, but there you go. So 77 straight in. Got that warbly, that is like a top. Does anybody else hear it? I don't know. I hear it. And the 800 will have a little of that. But and again, I probably would turn that treble down even more, honestly, on that 77. Lately, the top end has been bugging me. Yeah, it's kind of like right there, maybe. Yeah, maybe something more like that. Still feels bright. More like that. Maybe even give a little ooh ooh. You hear the dunk dunk came out. You could see the wave. And then take the EQ off. Yeah, it's a little bit of a head snapper. I'm just gonna leave this bypass and then AC30. You know, it's funny. I had that matchless for a couple of years, and it grew to not like it. I really liked it for like a year, and then there's something about it. I grew to not like it, and that's what I sold it about 4 or 5 months ago, and then I sold the cab finally about 2 months ago, and I've been like, that's what I've been thinking. I'm like, I just want an AC30. Like, I don't want any whoop-de-doo hand wash. Like, I just want a crappy AC30 that sounds like the crappy AC30s on the records that I love. You know, I mean, you know, people talk about, oh, you got a pre-CBS Strat and everything. Hendrix didn't play a pre-CBS Strat. So a lot of rock and roll was made with crappy gear because they were all poor. They were all poor. I'm reading the Keith Urban biography right now. It's a part of my 75 Hard. Poor. Living in his car, had one guitar, his parents' house burned to the ground. The only thing that survived was his guitar and his amp because they were in the garage. They were doing band practice. It's a sad story, but I think he was 13 or whatever, and they spent like 4 years kind of not on a couch tour, but you know, they were kind of like drifting around trying to finally they found some place to live. But yeah, a lot of these great rock records were made with, you know, stuff that people bought at Sears. That's why there's so much Silvertone and Dan Electro. That's all Sears gear. That was all in the Sears catalog. So, you know, now it's like, oh, you have to have the, you know, the greatest, you know, you have to have the handmade, you know, Paul Reed Smith, like, you know, it's cool, but I don't know, that's just an Epiphone with EMGs in it. It sounds fine. So, anyway, that's my little rant. I had a little rant. I still have one more training thing today. We get off this, drink some water, and go walk for 45 minutes. Day 6, 75 hard, down 5.3 pounds. Yeah, listen to that AC30 in the cab. That's just perfect. The thing that's so beautiful about that is it will not interfere with vocals. That's just two 57s. You know, the other two cabs have 57 and ribbon mic. What's on the AC30 cab is a 57 kind of on axis, kind of right at the seam where the dust cap and the center dust cap and the cone meet. You know, kind of medium brightish, pretty bright. And then the other one is like kind of bent, you know, like off axis, and kind of, I just moved it it was the right spot. So that one is a little darker and a little more ooh, and it kind of blended. It kind of does the same thing as the ribbon mic. So yeah, 77. That's too bright. Now I hate it. AC30. The AC30 could probably be a little brighter, right? So if we were to take this and then go here, now that I'm listening to it, but I've got plenty of room. I got room on both amps. Let me listen to this AC30. Yeah, a little more cack. That's just killer, man. That's just killer, man. Wow. And JMP. It's hard, man. It's a harder sound. Anyway, there you go. And here's Mark 2C++ with the FM9. That sounds so nice. And honestly, after doing my little video the other day, I listened to it a few times, and they're all good. I think that there's something more focused sounding on the FM9. And I don't know if they got the model really nice, or I don't know what it is. Maybe my recording had a little bit, maybe could have been better. I mean, it's the same thing I always do, right? Here's the 2C Plus mode on my Mark V. And here's the FM9 2C++. Yeah, that's just, they're both great. The thing I really like probably the most on the Mark V is the Mark IV mode, which is this. That's really nice. It's sort of like, ugh. It's kind of the opposite of Marshall. Marshall's like, and this is like, you're doing facials, right? And then, anyway, there you go. AC30. For some reason, that kind of sound, and I don't know what he used or what, if it was open back. It reminds me, there's something about the way it sounds. It reminds me of the rhythm of Whole Lot of Love. When I was a kid, that was the heaviest thing on the planet on the radio. I mean, you know, because people, the general public wasn't listening to Black Sabbath. They were listening to Led Zeppelin and Cream. You know, I mean, I'm 60, and my brother is 18 years older than me, so he came back from Vietnam in 70, and we lived in the same bedroom for like 2 years, from when I was like 5 to 7 or 6 to 8. I was a little dude listening to, you know, Vanilla Fudge, Cream, Emerson, or Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Jefferson Airplane. He was so into the Animals, you know, all that, you know, yeah, Tangerine Alarm Clock, or, you know, whatever all those bands were. That this AC30, it's got like it reminds me of the da-da-da-da. I don't know why. It's not as gainy, but there's something there's like a to it. Anyway, that's it. My wife's been in a little bit of a rough mood today. Just maybe a little down, so I'm trying to helped her at the house. We went to the dump. We went to Goodwill, trying to clean out the kids' room. Just got rid of a bunch of crap. And we're going to watch a little movie, and, you know, it's not easy, man. You know, we're all humans, right? I know I am. You know, I get real bad when my food is bad and I'm not working out. And also, like, if I'm not making money, you know, like if there's no work, or it's not that it's no work. It's just I'm in a weird payment cycle of a bunch of people that are working, and then everybody's paid up or whatever, you know, and you're like, oh God, I don't get like that anymore though. I get like, I like it, you know, my thing is always saying is money is coming, you know, I try not to, I used to get so stressed. I mean, I've been independent. I have been self-employed for 27 straight years. No job, no paycheck, no boss. And then prior to that, there were times where I owned a painting company for years. I mean, at my heart, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm self-employed. I don't, you know, I'm not really about, like, I'm just better like this. So, but the part of it is, you know, like, oh, one day they're all gonna just realize, like, you're a schmuck and never call. So just doing my best. But yeah, I'm just gonna be there for my wife tonight. So we're gonna wrap this up. Yup, there it is. That AC30. God, and you know it's like it's small but dominant. Like, I don't know if you guys are into these kinds of sounds, but like you know, you listen to like a lot of YouTube guitar and everything's always like, it's always big, 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 big. Yeah, there's nobody singing. Put somebody singing, and then like, unless they're screaming and you're going to bury them, or you're going to bury the guitars, it's like, it's tough. That's why these kinds of sounds sometimes are really useful. That's why, I mean, the most recorded amp of all time, to me, 1 and 2, Deluxe Reverb and AC30. I mean, or derivatives of them. I know that they say that the Deluxe Reverb is the most recorded. That's the Nashville thing. Though a lot of people have moved to some of the boutique amps. You know, Bad Cat, Matchless more than anything. Yeah, and then like, you know, like Carr, the guy that when I was a producer at the label Cupid Music in Nashville, the dude that played there was the session guy, session leader. He had a Carr. It was really nice, like a 112, kind of like a hybrid, I think, of a Deluxe and an AC30. Gorgeous. Car amps are fantastic. Victoria, you know, there's a bunch of those guys that make. Even Third Power has some of that stuff. So, I don't know. You know, the other option is I take the 77. If I decide like I want to keep, like, this is worth it. This is the Mark V in Mark IV mode. That's just incredible. I probably could get something like that in FM9, but that just is like, as soon as I play that, I'm like, oh, joy. And that's what I'm thinking, like that blended with the JCM 800. So the 800 going through the X pattern Greenback Vintage 30, and then the Mark V going through the all Vintage 30. Phase align, polarity, play tight, and I mean like tight, super tight. Double it. Chopping elbows, baby. Clients walk in, they're like, what? Sounds like Enter Sandman or something. Like my clients care about Enter Sandman. They come in, they want to sound like Olivia Rodrigo. You know, it's just, or Idina Menzel, or, you know, it's some strange world. I went from wanting to make Houses of the Holy to making Barney records. I make, you know, records mostly for kids. But it's cool, you know, it keeps you young and in the game. So there it is. AC30, one more time. That's just perfect with the 808. Yeah, see, the 808 to me doesn't really work with the Vox because it makes it smaller. It works, those tube screamers are, I think, sometimes better with things that are inflated like Marshalls. And I bet what would be nice through the Vox will be either the King of Tone, which is the drug of choice in Nashville, or even try the Greer Lightspeed and just back off the treble, because it does well. I could add some, well, maybe another video, but that the 808 doesn't work. You hear what I mean? Like when it's clean, it's got a nice place. When it goes to the 808, that's too well, maybe not. Yeah, that's not for me. But you know, I got other options. We got options.